What's going on, Tan and J-Man Show Nation? It's Monday night. It is March 18th, 2024. I about forgot what the date was today. Oh, it's been a long weekend. It's been a long weekend. But I'm Tanner Lee, Coach Josh the J-Man in the house. J-Man, this is one of my favorite episodes we do every year.
It is a very fun one. It is, got our brackets ready. It's always more fun when both of our teams are in it, which for the first couple years of the show, my team wasn't in it at all. Now they've been in it now 4 straight years. So it makes it a little more fun for me anyway. So
I think since we've started the show, I'm trying to think back what their seeding was in 2017. But I know the last 7 tournaments, Purdue's been a top 4 seed. 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed.
27 was 2017 when you guys lost to Kansas.
Yeah, there would have been a 4 seed that year. Yep. Yeah.
And then 17-18 was that
2 seed.
2 seed loss to Texas Tech.
Yep. After Isaac Koss broke his elbow in the first round.
And then Virginia.
That was 3 seed.
North Texas. St. Peter's.
4 seed. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're due.
Yep. And the thing about the St. Peter's one, even though it was bad, losing to 15, nobody remembers that they beat a pretty good Texas team in the second round.
Right. I was literally just thinking today, who did they beat in the second round? I remember obviously Kentucky and Purdue, but I could not remember. I thought it was Texas, but
they finally got the Chris Beard monkey off their back.
Yeah.
Beat them at Little Rock and at Texas Tech. So
yeah, I forgot about who'd they beat in the first round that year?
Yale,
that's right.
Who's in the tournament thanks to a heartbreaking
loss. Man. Yeah, I was watching that game live yesterday, and Brown was up. They were up 6 with 25 seconds left. They missed 3 out of 4 free throws, and Yale hit a couple threes, and that's how you get your heart ripped out.
Yeah, we'll talk about conference championships and break down our brackets and all that. But first, do you have a birdie or bogey question for me?
I do. There have been 5 schools to reach 20-plus wins in the regular season in each of the last 5 years. Can you name those 5 schools?
No, but I'll try.
I will let you get 3 for a birdie. I'll give you 3 for a birdie. Off no, 3 for a par. Sorry, 5 for a birdie.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not letting you off that. So 5 schools to reach 20-plus regular season wins in each of the last 5 years. Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House is upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere located at 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. Join us tonight for Pizza Monday. They have a barbecue chicken pizza there tonight, which looks absolutely divine. And over the weekend, Saturday night special, they had Ike and Dave musical guests, and they had roast pork and cabbage for, I assume, for St. Patty's Day.
Yeah. St. Patty's Day was yesterday. Did you do anything fun or special?
Didn't even work.
I know. That was my next question. I was gonna say, I know you watched your Illini play in the Big Ten tournament championship against Wisconsin, but I didn't know if you wore green.
No,
something. Nothing.
Didn't even get a Shamrock Shake this year. I assume they still have them, but I kind of forgot.
They do. I had McDonald's for dinner tonight, and they still have the Shamrock Shake and McFlurry. No free ads there, McDonald's, but just saying.
I did not know they even had a Shamrock McFlurry.
Yeah,
I have to check that out.
Yeah, you have loved that thing for years. I am shocked that you haven't had one this year.
I'm a big fan of mint. And for whatever reason, I don't know if I've just been busy or just kind of forgot about it. But
you have been pretty busy this year. Let's not lie.
I've forgotten about the Shamrock Shake, and I'm kind of ashamed because that's the only reason why I would even think about going to McDonald's. Every once in a while, McDonald's Coke hits pretty well. Sometimes breakfast, never get like an actual meal there, but a Shamrock Shake, man, I wish Chick-fil-A did that because Chick-fil-A shakes are unbelievable.
Yeah, I can second that.
I'm a big fan of the peppermint shake around Christmas time, and I wish they did a minty, which I guess that is kind of minty, but I might have to go out and give myself a Shamrock Shake tonight.
Oh, there we go. But I'd like to get educated before we get into the meat and potatoes of our program here.
All righty, I got it pulled up here. I've not looked at it, so this could be interesting. On this day in Man, I'm in the 40s and there's nothing. Who won the national championship men's basketball game on this day in 1953?
Was that Indiana?
Indiana Hoosiers beat the Kansas Jayhawks 69-68.
That was their second title, I think, second of 5.
B.H. Bourne is named Tournament Most Outstanding Player. On this day in 1953, the Major League Baseball National League approves Boston Braves' move to Milwaukee, which was the first shift of any team since 1903.
Boston to Milwaukee to Atlanta.
Yeah. On this day in 1970, the NFL selects Wilson as the official football and scoreboard as official time.
Yep, and I don't know if I'm sure the scoreboard has changed, but the football hasn't.
No. On this day in 1990, who won the PGA Players Championship?
Is that Tom Kite?
It is not. It is Jody Mudd.
Never heard of him.
Ahead of runner-up Mark Calcavecchia.
Heard of Calc. No, not heard of Jody.
The money the winner won was $270,000, so that's a lot less than what the winner won yesterday.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler won $4.5 million yesterday.
Pretty good.
4.5. He's won 2 weeks in a row. He's won $8.5 million the last 2 weeks. And when you total it out, that's a little over $15,000 per shot.
Man, it's nice work if you can get it.
Oh yeah.
On this day in 1995, Michael Jordan announced he is ending a 17-month NBA retirement.
Thank you, Space Jam.
AKA his gambling suspension ended. On this day in 2014, Phil Jackson signed a 5-year contract to be the president of the New York Knickerbockers.
That went well.
It went real well. Let's see. And last one here. On this day in 2019, 40-year-old Dallas Mavericks forward Dirk Nowitzki overtakes Wilt Chamberlain to go 6th. That makes no sense. The sentence makes no sense. Dirk overtook Wilt Chamberlain and is 6th with 31,424 points on the NBA scorers list.
Should have been took over him for 6th all time.
Yeah, they screwed that up.
Yeah.
The Mavs did lose that game, though. Not that it really matters.
Dirk's one of the best to ever do it, and I'd say he's the best foreign player of all time.
Yeah, I would say he's, yeah.
I mean, you could make a case that Tim Duncan's technically foreign, but he played on Team USA.
But he was on the U.S. Or was he in the British Virgin Islands or was it the U.S. Virgin Islands? I think it was the U.S. Virgin Islands.
I think it was U.S. Virgin Islands, so.
Yeah.
Even then,
mainland.
Then, I still think I take Dirk over Tim, but that's close.
Dude,
it's real close.
Yeah, Tim, man, people forget how good Tim was back.
He's just boring. He was just so good though for years and years. He's just boring, and he's still a good dude. I mean, he's never got in trouble. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I still laugh that the Celtics didn't get him. They had the jersey ready and everything, and the Spurs won the lottery.
Won the lottery. Okay, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. I saw like a documentary on it or something, and they had the Duncan jersey ready. They thought they had number 1 overall pick. Nope. So,
man.
That's going to do it for this week's On This Day segment, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs to fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting their Instagram page or their Facebook page at Mooney Woodcrafts as their handle on those social media websites or apps, whatever you want to call them. It let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you. You get 15% off your first sign order. So makes the perfect gift for an upcoming holiday such as Mother's Day or Father's Day the following month. Or if you really want to get on top of it and get your Christmas shopping done very early, you can do that. Or if you just want to surprise the sports fan in your family or sports friend in your life, and they don't only have to be sports fans. They can be somebody who's actively in the military or been in the military, or maybe you just want a growth chart for your growing kid. That can do it all. So let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you 15% off your first sign order. All right, J-Man, let's get into March Madness. But first, let's talk about some conference tournaments that happened over the week. It was a pretty entertaining week of basketball.
Yeah, it is my favorite week of basketball. There's just games on every day, all throughout the day. And so many bid stealers this year. I've never seen power conference bid stealers quite like what we saw with NC
Yeah.
State's run and even Oregon's run. I know the Pac-12 is
Oregon.
not very good, but you rarely see guys who teams that are nowhere near the NCAA tourney make a run to their conference championship. It happens every once in a while, but it does not happen that often. So that was pretty fun to see.
Yeah, and even the AAC, we almost saw Temple do what hadn't been done since Georgia years ago, and that is go to the conference championship and win it as with a losing record.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get done. They woke up.
And of course, you're going to get your bid stealers. You got one in the Sun Belt with Florida Atlantic with UAB. I think that's Sun Belt.
UAB's in the American. So is Florida Atlantic now.
American. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Sun Belt. But you see UAB win that championship, so that took a bid away from somebody.
Right.
For the most part, I thought the committee did pretty poorly this year. You look at some of the teams that got in. All year we heard about the Mountain West, 6-bid Mountain West, 6-bid Mountain West, and they did get 6 bids, but I think a lot of teams were seated a lot lower than they thought they were going to be. Colorado State was one of the last teams in, yeah, and like I think Lenardi had hit them as like a 7 or 8 heading into the final week. Nevada, I saw them as high as like a 5, and they ended up getting a 10 seed. So obviously the committee did not value the Mountain West quite like other bracketologists did. Teams that got in, Virginia should not have got in over a team like Providence or Seton Hall, or even St. John's for that matter.
Yeah, the Big East.
Yeah.
The committee was not kind to the Big East.
They were not, which is weird.
3 teams.
I don't really get it because Seton Hall, St. John's, Providence were all right there, and some of the teams that got in over that, as I said, like a Virginia. You look at even like a Michigan State. The Michigan State got in on name recognition alone. They had 3 quad 1 wins all year. They had 4 less quad 1 and quad 2 wins than Providence did, and neither team lost to a quad 3 or quad 4 opponent. So they obviously took a lot of stock into the net ranking and the predictive metrics and all of that with Michigan State more so than they did the other teams. I thought Michigan State was going to be sweating it out, and they were in pretty soundly when the bracket came out.
They probably would have been sweating it out maybe if Minnesota would have beat them.
Yeah, or if Northwestern could have beaten them the other night too, 2 weeks ago now in Michigan State. But they're in, and now watch them end up beating Carolina in the round of 32 because that's what they do.
I don't know. We say that's what they do, but they haven't made it past Sweet 16 in a little while.
That's fair.
So, I mean, last time they made a Final Four.
Yeah.
But really the Big Ten's been struggling to get teams to the Sweet 16 and past Sweet 16 the last few years. So,
yeah.
6 teams have tried to do it this year, seeded anywhere from 1 through 9. So, they thought a lot higher of the Big Ten, I think, than a lot of people around the country did.
Yeah, I knew obviously Purdue was going to be a 1 when Illinois made the run to the championship game. Everyone, for the most part, thought they'd be a 3, and they were. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin higher than I thought they were going to be. I know obviously beating Purdue helps that significantly, but I was surprised to see them as a 5. And I think Nebraska and Northwestern were seeded perfectly 8 and 9, especially with the way Nebraska played at the end of the year. And then, of course, Michigan State as a 9. But, yeah, they ended up getting 6 teams in. What was my bold prediction this year? That they'd only get 5? I think it was a bold prediction. I'll bring it up real quick. Maybe it wasn't one of my bold predictions. Maybe I just projected they would. Big Ten only has 5 tourney teams, so I screwed that one up.
Well, I screwed up. I said 3 teams from state of Indiana would make it, and Purdue was the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. So. I'm trying to think who the 5 team. I had Wisconsin, Purdue, Illinois, and Michigan State. And I think I had Northwestern. Of course, Nebraska got hot. No one could have seen that coming. Yeah.
Yep. Indiana State was one that a lot of people are complaining about that did not get in.
Yeah, they're the highest rated team in the net ranking. Now we keep saying that they're the highest. I mean, the net rankings have only been a thing for what 6 or 7 years. So obviously teams are they're gonna keep breaking these sort of records. The metrics loved them, but they didn't have the quality of wins, which a lot of that's not their fault because teams aren't going to want to schedule Missouri Valley Conference opponents anywhere. So that's the problem with the mid majors like that, and it hurts them, and I think it hurts the game. I mean, Michigan State was good enough to schedule them, and they ended up beating them, and that might have been what put Michigan State over the top, honestly. But yeah, it sucks we can't see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in there, Robbie Avila, who's a really fun player to watch. He would have definitely been a March darling.
Yeah, you can watch them in NIT, I guess, if you want to watch them that bad. And if they win their first, pass. If they win their first game and Butler wins their first game, they match up in the second round, which would be kind of cool for a lot of people in the state of Indiana, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, the NIT, not my cup of tea. I do think they need to do something because too many schools are saying no, especially schools that think they got gypped into the NCAA tournament, say no, we're not playing. Got to figure that out somehow. So
yeah. And again, the NCAA doing away with if you win your conference regular season championship, you get an automatic bid to the NIT. Right. Hurts the mid and low majors for sure. Yep. Puts more pressure on them to win their conference tournament to get into the NCAA. But then you see teams, they want more of the high majors in there that missed the NCAA tournament, and a lot of them are opting out because the transfer portal opened today. Move the transfer portal back to like the week after the Elite Eight, even because it's just crazy. Teams just want to go out there and start building their roster. The teams that missed the tourney, and that is also something that hurts the NIT.
Well, it's just like college football. It starts pretty much right after the conference championships are over. I mean, the bowls aren't even going yet, and then people are jumping in the portal. And it's just a mess.
And it's devalued bowl games at this point because of all the opt-outs. So.
Yeah, Ray Davis on Facebook brought up a good point. Tom Crean went off about teams opting out in the NIT.
The funny thing about him, I know Indiana did not opt out when he was there, but they said it devalues the home court, so they turned down a home game in the NIT. So it's kind of ironic that he went off on them.
Well, the reason they did that was because they knew they were going to fire him. There was a lot of politics going on behind the scenes, so they didn't want a home game. They didn't want him to get booed off the court. But I see what you're saying. And when I heard it, I thought one of the schools he was taking a jab at was Indiana.
Yeah.
So
could have been.
Because I don't know if they would have gotten an invitation, but they came out and said they were going to decline the invitation if they got invited right after they lost to Nebraska. Smoked by Nebraska.
Smoked by Nebraska. I'll never forget Illinois made the NIT 2015. I think they were the last team out. One of the last teams out. They were not that good that year. They should have been good, and then Tracy Abrams blew out his knee. Ray Rice broke his wrist. Anyway.
Yeah, you're still not salty.
They couldn't host because the circus was in town, and the circus was at the State Farm Center. So they had to go to Boston University and play there, the Terriers. And they found a way to win. Then they had to go to Clemson and end up losing by 2. But it's just funny that how the NIT is not a priority whatsoever.
I remember Kentucky going to Stony Brook and losing.
I remember that too. Yeah.
Nerlens Noel, wasn't it? Wasn't that his team?
Yeah, it was a bad Kentucky team. I think it was Nerlens' team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about a few teams getting their hearts broken in conference championships. Brown, it would have been the first time they had ever made the NCAA tournament, and they were like 7 and something just a couple weeks ago. The record was
7-16 a month ago, and they won 7 in a row to get to their conference championship game. End up taking a 6-point lead with 25 seconds left, and they found a way to lose in regulation. That's hard to do, but they found a way to do it. That's brutal.
That was brutal. So was Kent State's loss to Akron.
Was the worst. I feel for that guy, man.
There was no guarantee that Akron was going to go down and score, or what? There was no guarantee that Akron wasn't going to go down and score anyways in the 4.5 seconds. 4.5 seconds left in the game. But man, that guard did not know what the score was or the time, and he intentionally fouled in a tie game. Akron goes to the line, hits both free throws, and then Kent State misses the game-tying attempt. And just brutal because Kent State was a team that definitely wasn't going to make the tournament. Akron wouldn't have either, but Akron was definitely the better team all year of the two.
Kent State was up 1.
You're right.
So
You're
yeah,
right.
Akron could have gone down and won, but they also could have lost.
You're right. You're right.
But yeah, I feel for the kid. I mean, what really can you say? I mean, it was just
The coach handled it well in the post game. He
he did.
didn't give ingredients. I mean, I'm sure it's killing him because something
Yeah.
like that will save your job or give you job security for a while. Ask NC State's coach.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like he was going to get fired. Now he's, according to you, he had a clause in his contract that if he won the conference tournament, gives him 2-year extension. So
automatic 2-year extension. So
yep.
Now that obviously doesn't mean they can't still fire him. They're not going to.
No, that'd be a bad look.
Yeah, it's all about the buyout anyway. But
yep.
It's interesting. Which with Illinois winning theirs yesterday, it gave Underwood an automatic 1-year extension. So I think a lot of coaches have that in their contract.
Not easy to do. Doesn't matter if you have to win 3 in a row, 4 in a row, 5 in a row. It's not easy to do. It's grueling on the players, on the coaches. Sometimes I wonder why we even do it. But if they didn't do the conference tournaments, I don't know what the shakeout would be for the NCAA tournament. So
yeah,
I'm just always scared of injury. I had my heart sink down in my stomach on Friday when I thought for sure Braden Smith blew his knee out the way he went down and yelled and was holding it, but thank goodness it was a calf string. And
he shouldn't have played on Saturday. Looking back,
no, he probably shouldn't have. But Matt Painter was in a lose-lose situation.
Sure,
you don't play him if he wants to play, and then you get smacked, or then your team could be down going into the NCAA tournament, or the morale of the team could be, I don't know, behind closed doors. The fan base is all on you. Or you play him and he gets hurt worse than he did.
You're right.
Then there goes everything you're playing for. But he played, I think he was probably, if I had to guess, 80, 85%.
Maybe.
I mean, he was better than he was in the second half Friday, I can tell you that much. He was moving better than that. But, they end up losing by 1 in overtime. Gets an extra day of rest, hopefully getting rest till Friday. Hopefully he'll be close to 100% for the 116 matchup in Indianapolis. So,
yeah.
Because they need him. They need him. I mean, Zach Edey makes Purdue good, and I can argue that Braden Smith makes him great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Edey didn't get a whole lot of help on Saturday.
No, but he hurt them getting 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes.
Sure.
And then he can't play for 12 minutes in the first half.
Right.
That killed him. They hadn't had it. Because when he was on the floor, they were plus 10. When Braden, who also got in foul trouble because he found out he was on the floor, they were plus 7.
Yeah.
So if Edey doesn't get in foul trouble, they're probably playing Illinois on Sunday, but wasn't meant to be. And that's 2 games in a row. He's got technical. So he's got to watch himself. Teams are starting to bait him a little bit.
Yeah.
Teams are starting to bait him a little bit, and it's working. So
yeah.
But good tournament by Illini. They just, for your sake, for your stress, they need to stop getting down double digits.
Yeah. Second half down 10 with 10 minutes left and against Ohio State. Down 15 with 18 minutes left. Obviously.
Yeah, that one I thought maybe was teetering to woodshed alert for a little while.
I mentally checked out too, so it made the comeback even better because you're not on the edge of your seat anymore. And then yesterday they got down 10, but because they did it the previous 2 games, I felt still pretty good about where they were. Have to stop doing it or you're going to get popped early. Because that you can't just rely on that you're going to actually come back every time.
Right.
Terrence Shannon was unbelievable. Arguably had the best run of any player the Big Ten tournament's ever had, averaged 34 points a game. He was 1 point shy of the all-time record, which was Keegan Murray 2 years ago, and Murray did it in 4 games. And Shannon only did it in 3, and he had a very egregious goaltend not called, so he could have had the all-time record. He's a guy that can carry you for sure. And then you add a Marcus Domask who played arguably his worst game since November on Friday night. He bounces back and had 26 yesterday. That's a pretty dang good 2-headed monster heading into the NCAA tournament. And I will go on record and say I think this team is better and more well-equipped to make a run in the NCAA tourney than the 1 seed was with Io and Kofi. They're just significantly better offensively for one. I mean, you have those 2 dudes there with Domask and Shannon, and then you had a Coleman Hawkins who did not play very well over the weekend, but he became the first player in Illinois history to have 900 points, 500 rebounds, 200 assists, 100 blocks, and 100 steals in a career. And it's his last go around. He can come back next year, use his COVID year, but I can't imagine he does. And he will finish his career undefeated against Wisconsin and Michigan, Nebraska, Minnesota, and then 7-1 against Iowa. So he's 68-27 in his career in Big Ten games against Big Ten opponents. So it's one of the more winning players in Illinois history. But yeah, it was fun because as you say, if you get beat early in the NCAA tourney, at least you have something to hang your hat on. With Purdue winning the Big Ten regular season, Illinois winning the Big Ten tournament, so at least you get to raise some sort of banner,
Right. Right. I mean, that's not what you want, but
right.
at least you look back and said, okay, they got something. Because
Yeah.
I remember 2 years ago, we were mentioning earlier when the Purdue team that lost to St. Peter's, they lost in the Big Ten tournament chip game and lost by a game.
Yeah.
The Big Ten regular season. It's just like, oh, that team was good, but there's nothing to look back on it for.
So hopefully the Big Ten tournament curse, which has been a curse, the past 3 teams who have won have not made it out of the first weekend.
Yeah.
Of course, Purdue last year and Iowa the year before lost. I forget who they lost to. Richmond, maybe?
Richmond Spiders, yep.
In the 12-5 game, 11. Yep. I think it was 12-5 game.
I think it was 12-5.
And of course, Illinois losing to Loyola in the second round 3 years ago. So hopefully the curse can at least get to the second weekend this year. I need a Sweet 16 berth for my mental
health. It's
been
a long time. I mean, you were
19 years. Yeah, 19 years since I made it to the second weekend.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
This is only the second time since 98 that Illinois has been on the bottom half of the bracket. They've either been a 1, 4, 5, or 12 seed, besides 2013 when they were a 7. So it's nice to not have to worry about facing a 1 until the Elite 8. But this East bracket is absolutely loaded. The top 4 seeds all won their conference tourney, and 5 of the top 16 teams in KenPom are in the East bracket. So it's pretty tough. And the crazy thing is BYU would have been their top 5, but they can't play on Sunday, so they had to drop it down to a 6. So that hurts a little bit. I'm so sick of people complaining about the draw. Just go out there and win freaking games.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody's even the people who have the so-called easier out, it's still going to be tough.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the tournament for a reason. Okay. Some got maybe lucky and won their conference tournament, but
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a crapshoot at the end of the day. We've seen more times than not the best team in college basketball doesn't win the NCAA championship.
Right.
More times than not. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. I mean, UConn, everybody wants to crown them already, at least guaranteed to make the Final Four. Interesting thing about them, in the past 6 tournaments, they've been out of the first round 1 time. That was last year, and they won the championship.
There you go. Yeah. And arguably on paper, as I said, they're probably in the toughest regional. So in the toughest region. Now this UConn team's obviously loaded and they're very good. But again, you just never know. You could have a bad shooting game and get popped by an 8 or 9 seed or a 16 seed for that matter. It's still not common for a 16 seed to do it. But
it's only happened twice. But
it's happened twice. But it does seem like 15 seeds are getting 2 seeds more often than not here. Not more often than not, but more so than they were years back. So, 14-3 is not an easy game anymore. Morehead State's 26-8 for a reason. They're pretty good.
Yep.
So,
you got to go out there and win, like you said. You got to go out there and make shots. You got to stay out of foul trouble,
and
just got to get done.
Especially with teams like Purdue or Illinois that get down early, and that thought creeps in. Here we go, And so hopefully that panic doesn't set in for them.
Yeah, it's interesting. In the Midwest region, it's pretty much Maui Classic 2.0 with 4 of the teams that were in the Maui being in the region together. Yeah. So kind of crazy there. Let's start off with the East region. We'll just go kind of game by game. I think we got enough time. So starting with UConn against Stetson. First time Stetson ever making the tournament. I don't presume you have 16 over 1 there.
I do not. I do
not as well.
I have UConn getting there.
I have UConn as well. 8-9 Florida Atlantic, last year's darling Final Four team. This year they kind of coasted through the regular season. A lot of people say if Florida Atlantic didn't make that run last year, they wouldn't be in the tournament this year. And they are against 9th seed Northwestern.
Yeah, their one saving grace was that neutral court win in overtime. I think double overtime against Arizona. But, I mean, they have 3 quad 3-4 losses. I mean, they lost to Bryan at home. I think With no Ty Berry, I think Northwestern will struggle because FAU has really good guard play, and I think they can maybe not neutralize Boo Buie. I think he'll get his, but I ultimately think FAU wins a fairly close one.
I'm kind of Big Ten homerish in a little way in my picks, not Andy Katz like, but I have Northwestern winning, and because of Boo Buie, I think he's gonna go nuts at least one time in the tournament.
Boo Buie's the kind of guy that he can absolutely carry you, and he is he's a killer out there. He's good.
Yes, he is. 5 seed San Diego State, last year's runner up to UConn, and 12 seed UAB.
Give me San Diego State in that one.
I agree with that. I can't say I've watched much of their team at all this year, but I feel confident with that one. Yep. 4 seed Auburn, who won the SEC tournament, versus 13 seeded Yale.
Bruce Pearl's team barely had any quad one wins this year heading into the SEC tourney, and they picked up a few. Bruce's teams play pretty well in March, so give me Auburn.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking Auburn as well. I don't like Bruce Pearl, but I like this Auburn team. I think they're destined for a run here. 6 seed BYU against 11 seed Duquesne. The Dukes making their first tournament appearance since 1977.
And their head coach announced he's going to retire at the end of the year.
Yeah, go out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. BYU can score it with the absolute best of them. Give me BYU. I think they blow them out.
I'm taking BYU as well. Your 3 seed Illinois fighting a line against the 14 seed Morehead State. Like you said, they're a pretty good team. Purdue got the better of them either November. I think it was November. It was one of the first games of the season, if not their first game of the season. But they only lost by 1 to Indiana and played some other big teams tough. So they got experience going against some big boys.
Their best player, forget his name. He's 6'7", 230, pretty good shooter. He's going to be a guy who I would say matchup nightmare, but Illinois has good size at about every position these days. So I feel pretty good about that. Morehead State slows it down though. And I saw a thing today that people should pick Morehead State because 80% of the time that teams that are slow the pace down and all that go against teams that want to run, the team that slows it down wins. And so I saw that, but Illinois, I don't really think they go out and run that much besides Shannon. Their best offense is Marcus Domask and the booty ball, as they call it.
Yeah, I'm backing them down.
That little post up, they like to slow it down a little bit, and it's super efficient. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference for Morehead State. So give me Illinois fairly comfortably.
Yep, I'm taking Illinois as well. Good matchup here, 7 seed Washington State and 10 seed Drake.
Give me Drake. Their coach, I think, will get a big job. Darren DeVries, his son is their best player, and he's really good for Drake. So I haven't watched Washington State at all. I watched Drake in the Arch Madness championship game, and I was pretty impressed. So give me Drake.
Yeah, they shot 61% from behind 3-point arc against the Sycamores. I'm taking Drake as well, and Ohio State's job's not open. They promoted Diebler from interim to full time, but Louisville's open and Michigan's open as of now, and we'll see what other jobs. And maybe Drake's head coach could fit one of those. 2 seed Iowa State, who just absolutely throttled Houston and held them to, only allowed them to score 41 points in the Big 12 tournament championship against the 15 seeded South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
Yeah, team of no names. Couldn't name one player on their team, and the national media could barely name you one player on their team, but man, are they good. That defense is absolutely dynamite. So give me Iowa State.
I'm taking Cyclones as well. I think it's their best team they've had since 99, probably, when they made the Elite Eight with Jamal Tinsley, Marcus Pfizer. So you got Florida Atlantic, I got Northwestern, but we both have them against UConn second round.
I have UConn advancing.
I have the defending champs advancing as well. We both have San Diego State against Auburn.
Give me Auburn.
I have the Tigers as well. We both have BYU against Illinois.
First one to 100 wins, and I think Illinois does it. Give me Illinois.
I got the Illini as well, and we both have Drake against Iowa State.
The Battle of Iowa, Dubuque, Iowa against Ames, Iowa. Give me Iowa State.
I am taking the Cyclones as well. UConn and Auburn, Sweet 16.
Give me UConn.
I'm taking the Auburn Tigers.
All right.
There's an upset for me. I think UConn's very good. I understand why more people than not have them in the Final Four and the championship. I just feel like usually that not the darling pick, but that favorite pick of everybody usually falls short. It seems like somewhere. So Illinois, Iowa State, Sweet 16.
Give me Illinois. I gotta take them.
got the homer pick. Road stops for Illini right there for me. I'm taking Iowa State. So you have UConn and Illinois in the Elite Eight.
Give me UConn.
UConn advanced to the Final Four. I have Auburn and Iowa State, and I have Auburn. Bruce Pearl and Auburn representing the East region. I know I don't like it, but I figured I had to go out on limb on a few of these regions, so that's kind of what I did. But the East should have some compelling matchups for sure. Let's switch gears to the West. 1 seed North Carolina's got to play either 16 seed Howard or Wagner. I don't think it matters either way. I think Carolina takes care of business.
Give me Carolina. On paper, this is the weakest region.
I agree. 8 seed Mississippi State, who Josh on record last week said they sucked, and then they just blitzed Tennessee. 9 seed Michigan State.
I'm gonna stick to that they suck and take Michigan State in this one.
I'm taking Mississippi State. I want Michigan State out of there. They probably won't lose though.
Yeah.
This is an upset. A lot of people have this as an upset. 5 seed St. Mary's versus 12 seed Grand Canyon.
Yeah, Bryce Drew and the boys out there in Grand Canyon. Give me St. Mary's. I hate picking 12-5s. Popular upset picks. I hate doing. I do have a few later on, but that is not one of them. Give me St. Mary's.
I'm taking Grand Canyon. I fell for it. I'm falling for it. 4th seed Alabama can score with the best of them, but they also don't play defense against 13 seeded Charleston.
This is an interesting one, but give me Bama in this one.
I'm taking Bama as well. 6th seed Clemson, 11 seed New Mexico. Richard Pitino's New Mexico Lobos.
Yeah. Eddie House's son plays for New Mexico, as well as Jamal Mashburn's son. Right?
Yeah, I did not know that. I did not know that one.
Yeah, remember Jamal Mashburn Jr. at Minnesota? He followed.
Yes, that's right.
I want to say he's still at New Mexico. I could be wrong. I haven't watched New Mexico.
Followed Patino Jr. Yeah,
but I'm taking New Mexico.
I am too. I watched a little bit of that tournament championship, and I like them. 3 seed Baylor Bears against 14 seed Colgate, not the toothpaste company.
Colgate has been to 5 straight NCAA tournaments. They are a powerhouse out in the Patriot League. Illinois took care of Colgate pretty easily earlier in the year. They like to slow it down as well. Real smart team. Give me Baylor, though. Too many athletes.
I was going to say, you really hyped Colgate up just to dump them on their head. I'm taking the Baylor Bears as well. I like this Baylor team. I don't think people are talking about them enough.
Yeah.
To be honest, coming in the tournament. This should be a fun one. 7-seeded Dayton against 10-seed Nevada.
Dayton kind of got in based off of their early season where they were really good. They weren't as good towards the end of the year. Give me Nevada. Underseeded Nevada.
I'm taking the Wolfpack as well. Then 2-seed Arizona against 15-seed Long Beach State, whose coach is also pretty much retiring, right? He's quitting, not retiring.
Yeah. Former Minnesota coach Dan Munson. He's the guy that got Gonzaga rolling though before Few took over.
Yep.
So I don't trust Arizona as far as I can throw them, but they will win this one.
I'm taking Arizona as well. You have UNC versus Michigan State. I have UNC versus Mississippi State. Who are you taking?
Give me North Carolina.
I'm taking Carolina as well. You have St. Mary's against Alabama. I have Grand Canyon against Alabama. Who do you got, Manson?
Give me Bama.
I got Bama as well. We both have New Mexico against Baylor.
I have Baylor.
I'm taking Baylor as well. And we both have Nevada against Arizona.
Give me Arizona.
I'm taking Arizona as well. UNC or Bama? Who's making it to the Elite Eight?
North Carolina.
I forgot I didn't even pick somebody in this. I'm taking Carolina as well. Baylor or Arizona?
Give me Baylor.
I'm taking Baylor as well. Who do you have in your Final Four out of the West?
I have North Carolina. I went 2-1. I'm boring.
I have Baylor. So
nice.
I'm going to 4-3 on that side. So Baylor has screwed me before. I had them in championship game one year. That was the year. I forget they lost. They lost in the first round. So totally prepared for it. All right. So going to the South region where the Houston Cougars are taking on Longwood.
Give me Houston.
I'm taking the Cougars as well. You got to think they want to get on the court as soon as possible after that embarrassing effort. 8 seed Nebraska against 9 seed Texas A&M. This is not a football matchup. This is basketball.
They play each other in the women's bracket as well after Nebraska's athletic director left to go to Texas A&M. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the NCAA likes their storylines.
Oh, yeah.
I am taking K-Side Tominaga and the boys there in Nebraska.
I'm taking Nebraska over Texas A&M as well. You're welcome, Cameron Screeton. 5-seeded Wisconsin against 12-seeded James Madison.
Give me James Madison. That's a 12-5 I'm picking. The upset pick. James Madison went into Michigan State, beat them. Only lost, I think, 3 games this year. I know Wisconsin kind of played. They played well in Minneapolis. I'll give them that.
That helps when they have the biggest crowd too.
It does help.
Not making excuses for Purdue or even for Wisconsin or Illinois, not blowing Wisconsin out by any means, but they had 80% of the crowd yesterday.
They for sure did, and it was very loud. Give me James Madison.
I'm taking Wisconsin. I know that's the popular pick, 12-5, but like I said, I went a little Big Ten bias on my picks, so I'm taking the Badgers, but it would not shock me if they lay an egg. Number 4 seed Duke against 13 seed Vermont.
I'll give me Duke.
I'm taking the Dukies as well, even though this is a very inexperienced Duke team as far as the NCAA tournament is concerned. 6 seed Texas Tech against 11 seeded NC State. Probably the hottest team coming in the tournament.
NC State having to play 5 games in 5 days last week catches up to them. Give me Texas Tech.
I agree with you there. 3 seed Kentucky against 14 seed Oakland. I like this Oakland team.
Oakland gave Ohio State all they wanted and Illinois all they wanted. Illinois needed a comeback in the second half. Shocker there to beat Oakland earlier in the year. Give me Kentucky, though.
I'm taking Kentucky as well. 7 seed Florida against either 10 seed Boise State or Colorado.
Florida's a team that I keep hearing you don't want to face Florida in the NCAA tournament, so give me Florida.
I'm taking the winner of Boise State, Colorado. I actually think Colorado will beat Boise State, but whoever wins that game, I think takes Florida down in this one.
You just love Colorado athletics, don't you?
I hate Colorado University of Colorado football, so don't put that on me whatsoever. If I see one more Shadir Sanders to the Broncos in 2025, I'm going to scream. 2 seed Marquette against the 15th seeded Brandon Newmans of Western Kentucky.
Tyler Kolek should be back for the first round, so give me Marquette.
I'm taking the Golden Eagles as well. Houston, Nebraska. Who goes to Sweet 16?
Give me Houston.
I'm taking the Cougs as well. You got James Madison against Duke. I got Wisconsin against Duke.
Give me Duke.
I'm taking the Dukies as well. Texas Tech against Kentucky.
Give me Kentucky.
Got Kentucky as well. And you got Florida against Marquette, and I got either Colorado or Boise State against Marquette.
I went chalk in this region up until this point, so give me Marquette.
I got Marquette as well. Houston or Duke?
Give me Duke. I think they go to the Elite Eight.
It's
a pretty good Duke team.
Oh, that's Duke team getting into the Elite Eight. Ugh. Yeah. I'm taking Houston, but it wouldn't shock me. Kentucky or Marquette?
Give me Kentucky.
Kentucky. So you got Duke and Kentucky in the Elite Eight. Yeah. I got Houston and Marquette. Who you got advancing out of the South?
Give me Kentucky. I think this is Cal's best team. Obviously, they were a 2 seed when they lost to St. Peter's. I think this team's better, though. They don't play much defense, but man, can they score.
It'd be interesting if this team doesn't even get to the Sweet 16, if what that means for Cal's future.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have Houston over Marquette, so there's my first 1 seed, and I'm not too confident in that one. I don't know, because they just put up 41 points. Maybe I think they're going to use that as motivation going forward, but
yeah,
because they got some dogs on their team. They got some dogs, but they got to score the ball. And lastly, the last region, the Midwest region. Number 1 seed Purdue against either 16 seed Montana State or Grambling. Grambling's this is their first NCAA tournament appearance.
If Purdue loses this one, you might just want to stop watching forever.
I told my wife I might, and she said, "No, you won't." And I said, "You're right, I won't." But I don't want to say I won't care, but I'm just not gonna ever get my hopes up again. I don't even know. I don't even want to think about it, Josh. I want to enjoy my time till 7:25 on Friday.
You're lucky you play Friday and not at 2:10 on Thursday.
That happened to me last year. So
give me Purdue large.
Yeah, I think Purdue's going to come out hungry and motivated. As fans, Purdue fans, we've heard it a lot the past year. How many times have the coaches and the players heard it?
Oh yeah.
Last year? So it's got to be in Indianapolis. Purdue's going to have the place full. I think Purdue wins pretty handedly in that first round matchup. 8-9 here. Utah State versus TCU.
Give me Utah State. I've always liked Utah State's program.
I'm thinking TCU. Couldn't tell you much about either team. I know TCU's got some really good guards, but couldn't tell you much outside that. Gonzaga gets McNeese State.
Yeah, McNeese State, popular upset pick. 30-3, they score 80 points a game and only give up 61 a game. Will Wade, man, he can coach. I know he's scummy, but he took off. It's his first year there. They were 11-23 last year, and they are 30-3 this year. Give me McNeese State. This is Mark Few's worst team he's had there in probably a decade at Gonzaga. I was surprised to see them as a 5. Honestly, I thought they'd be more in that 7-8 range. But give me McNeese State.
I'm taking McNeese State as well. But this wouldn't shock me for Gonzaga to win just because everybody's kind of writing them off there. Pluggo on Facebook, go whoever plays Purdue. Yes, Pluggo's what I like to call reversible Notre Dame football IU basketball fans. So
the worst.
But that's all right. That's all right. He is a Cub fan though, Josh. So he's got that going for him.
I don't know if that helps him out. I don't know if that helps his case
out. 4 seed Kansas, 13 seed Samford.
Give me Kansas. This is also a popular pick with the status up in the air with Dickinson and McCullough there. I think Kansas gets it done.
I'm taking Kansas as well. South Carolina, 6 seed against 11 seed Oregon.
Again, Oregon had to win a bunch of games just to win their conference tournament. Give me South Carolina.
I'm taking Carolina as well. You know the Big Ten's loving what Oregon's doing right now, though.
Oh, for sure. They're going to claim them, too, if they make a run.
Yep. 3 seed Creighton against the 14th seed Fighting John Gross of Akron.
John Gross's Akron team, good for him. He's a good basketball coach. And it's interesting that he hasn't gotten another high major look anyway, because he is a pretty good basketball coach. He had some weird circumstances at Illinois. His last team was supposed to be really good, and then he had to kick Kendrick Nunn off. That's a for sure tourney team if Nunn's there. And then, of course, I'd mentioned the 2015 team with Abrams blowing out his knee early in practice and fall practice, and Ray Rice breaking his wrist. But anyway, I think Illinois got a better coach now, so I'm okay with it. Give me Creighton.
I'm taking Creighton as well, and Pluggo's correct me. He says, correction, Notre Dame through and through, but I grew up on IU hoops, so they forever have a soft spot in my heart. Okay.
Fair.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. If he likes Notre Dame basketball too, I'll get off his case there. So
I'll allow it.
I like Michael Shrewsbury. So 7 seed Texas against 10 seed Virginia or Colorado State.
I hope Colorado State destroys Virginia and Virginia scores like 26 points. This Virginia team is garbage and they got in. So give me Texas.
I'm taking the Longhorns as well. Then 2 seed Tennessee against 15 seed St. Peter's.
Give me Tennessee.
I'm taking the Vols as well. So you have Purdue against Utah State. I have Purdue against TCU.
Give me Purdue.
I'm taking the Boilermakers as well to get to the Sweet 16. We both have McNeese State against Kansas.
Give me Kansas.
I'm taking the Jayhawks as well. We both have South Carolina against Creighton.
Give me Creighton.
I'm taking the Blue Jays as well. We both have Texas against Tennessee.
Give me Tennessee.
I'm taking the Longhorns. I don't know. I think Tennessee's better. But Rick Barnes, Matt Painter gets a lot of flack for March. Rick Barnes, he took Texas to the Final Four in 2003, but since then, hadn't done a whole lot. So Tennessee's never made a Final Four. So Purdue, Kansas, Sweet 16 matchup in Detroit.
It'll be interesting to see if McCullough and Dickinson are good, like 100% for this one. They got a week and a half rest. Should Kansas make it that far?
Mm-hmm.
Give me Purdue. I don't think it matters.
I'll take Purdue as well. I haven't had fun watching Purdue Kansas matchups in the NCAA tournament in the past, so maybe Purdue's due there. But Purdue's got to if they're going to make a Final Four for the first time since 1980, they have to exercise the demons of Detroit. By that I mean Isaac Haas breaking his elbow. Then one of their better teams ever in 1988, the Three Amigos, Mitch Richmond lit them up from Kansas State. A team they beat Kansas State by like 30 points earlier in the season. So they gotta exercise some demons there. I'm taking Purdue to get to the Elite Eight as well. And I got Creighton against Texas. You have Creighton against Tennessee.
Give me Tennessee. Purdue and Tennessee can't quit each other.
I hate it. Give me the Blue Jays. Give me Creighton. And then Purdue, Tennessee for you. Purdue, Creighton for me.
Sorry, T-Dog. I'm taking Tennessee.
That's all right. Even though you just blew your bold prediction, said a Big Ten team would win the national title. You couldn't do it.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I feel Tennessee. Both teams are so due.
Yeah, they are. That's why I don't think they meet up in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, Purdue's had Tennessee's number, and I feel like
Yeah.
Tennessee switches a little bit. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, they're 10, man.
And they played once already this year. I'm so sick of playing them. But and of course, I'm surprised going Purdue over Creighton here to get into the Final Four. So out of the East, you had
UConn and Carolina.
UConn and Carolina. I have Auburn against Baylor.
Give me UConn.
I have Baylor. The Baylor Bears beating Auburn and going to the national title game. And then you have
Kentucky and Tennessee, which would be
Kentucky and Tennessee, and I have Houston and Purdue.
Give me Kentucky. I think they get to the title game. For some reason, I think Cal kind of gets people off his back this tournament.
So you have UConn against Kentucky, and I have Purdue going over Houston, so I have Baylor against Purdue. It's weird. Weird. We both have ones against threes.
Yeah.
Just different ways.
I think we get our first back-to-back champ since Florida in 06, 07. Give me UConn.
You went pretty smart this year with your predictions. I'm going with the storybook. The Purdue gets done over Baylor, pulls off what Virginia did in 2019, and Zach Edey beats the team. If it wasn't for his mom, he was going to go to in Baylor.
Really?
So he was going to commit, and his mom told him to stop and think about it a little more and take his time, and then something connected with him at Purdue. If not that, he would have been a Baylor Bear.
I'll tell you about Zach Edey. How good he is just proves how bad Haas and Harms were.
I was thinking about that. Harms has a good defense. And, I always thought Haas was a decent player. But, yeah, Zach's blown him out of the water. I mean, he's going to be back-to-back National Player of the Year. And it's pretty incredible.
Harms was so unlikable.
Yeah.
And he wasn't.
So is Edey compared to a lot of the internet, J-Man. He's the most hated guy in college basketball right now.
He is, and he's starting to get that reputation now, which is why he's gotten back-to-back technicals. So we'll see.
I think it's more because the way the officiate. I don't think it's him. I think it's the way the refs call games.
He's got a little bit to do with it.
No. Oh, okay. All right.
It'll be interesting because, of course, for years we've always complained about how the Big Ten is officiated and how that plays a role in the NCAA tournament. It'll be interesting to see how some of these guys that get to the free throw line a lot are officiated, like
Zach Edey and Terrence Shannon. Probably more than anybody, really.
Yeah, Shannon shot 17 yesterday.
You just got to drive.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they're officiated.
The reason I'm so confident in this Purdue team, compared to some other really good Purdue teams I've seen in the past, even last year, is if teams want to double Edey and hope to God, shoot threes against them and hope Purdue's missing, this Purdue team shoots at a better clip than those other ones did. So I think Mason Gillis isn't going to hesitate to shoot like he did last year. Lance Jones never hesitates to shoot. I think, for instance, Montana State or Grambling, if they try that, and if Purdue's hitting early, Purdue could just absolutely bury them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
I mean, they're second in the country in 3-point field goal percentage. So,
yeah, we'll see though. It's gonna be a fun tournament.
It will.
Hopefully, we come here next Monday and we're talking about our teams still playing ball.
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Be a 10 J-Man show first, but that'd be nice.
It would. I've not done the book it prediction, so this will be the J-Man's book it prediction of the week. I think the Big Ten gets just 2 teams of the Sweet 16. Obviously, we won't know. I was going to say 2 teams of the Elite Eight, but we won't know by next Monday. So I got that. I think this past week was the first book that I've gotten correct all year.
You were due. Like you said last week, you were due.
I know I was due. Now, unfortunately, I also said Justin Harmon was due, and he scored 2 points over the weekend and made 1 field goal.
Hey, he's due this week. He's due this week, and I think Brad's taking some minutes away from him. He only played 10 minutes against Wisconsin yesterday. But I was due. Hopefully, I can get back-to-back. That'd be pretty nice. Just 2, though. I'm not going to say at least 2. It won't be it won't be nice if it's like Michigan State Northwestern. We're not going to like that.
Well, that would be. I wouldn't watch the tourney after that. There's no way I'd turn it on at all. So, J-Man's Book Review of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching for Life, Home, Auto, Business, Renters, Workers' Comp, and Farm Insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watching@infb.com.
And I still have a pick six segment to get through, and
Oh,
this is going to be
yeah.
perfect because I wanted to hit on NFL free agency, and I made all six of these guys
Cool.
NFL guys, so this works out perfectly. Starting with Justin Fields.
Pittsburgh Steeler sitting behind old Russie Dubs out there.
Wow, that's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to play 51% of snaps, right? Where the Bears get a 4th round pick.
I wouldn't think so, but unless Russ gets off the bad start and the first month, I mean, both guys are only under 1 year contracts.
Yeah,
so Justin only has 1 year left on his contract.
Fields obviously didn't have the market the Bears thought he.
No, Sam Howell went for more than Justin Fields did.
Yeah.
So, Kenny Pickett.
Traded to the Eagles. Sounds like he was an absolute diva for a guy that was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL last year as a starter. And he went for more than what Pittsburgh gave up for old Fields.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So now he gets to back up Jalen Hurts on the team he loved growing up. So
Chase Young.
Is he still a free agent? He signed somewhere.
He signed two-year, $13 million deal with the Saints today.
Did he? I did not see that. Had a good start to the year with Washington, and then I don't think he did a whole lot with San Francisco. It's been kind of a little busty there, number 1 overall pick.
Leighton Vander Esch.
He retired or he signed somewhere?
Retired today. He said his body can't hold up anymore.
Yeah, I saw that real bad hit that Trent Williams threw him into a guy, and he went helmet first into a guy's midsection. So he was a good linebacker for the Cowboys. Cowboys have done pretty much nothing in free agency, and I know a lot of their fans, including Skip Bayless. You can go check out his Twitter.
Oh, I would rather not.
I'm not going to repeat what he said, but go. Check
Thank you, comma.
Yeah, thanks for the comma there, Skip.
Yes, yeah. Marquise Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood, he'll go up and put career numbers up there in Kansas City. He's a good receiver too. To get him for 1 year, $10 million is that's a bargain. I mean, he had nobody throw him the ball last year in Arizona. So
and Kyler Murray pretty much said goodbye to him, and I'm like, Kyler, you've lost Rondell and him. You're gonna have nobody.
He's not good to begin with anyway, and he's very expensive.
Maybe they'll get Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know.
Maybe.
And lastly, Keenan Allen.
Yeah, the newest Chicago Bear. Pair him with DJ Moore, Caleb Williams, assuming they take him number 1. Will have more weapons to throw to than Justin Fields had.
They'll have more weapons than Bears quarterback has had in the last 2 decades.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the Bears could have some fun offense. I mean, depending on how Caleb develops and the pros. But
you'd think. I mean, they signed. Who's the running back they signed?
DeAndre Swift.
That's right.
Yeah,
Keenan. If Keenan would have been a Bear his whole career and put up the same exact numbers he did, he's now entering year 12. He would have become the Bears' all-time leading receiver in year 6.
Yep.
So that just shows how terrible the history of Bears quarterbacks and receivers.
You know, he's probably on a decline of his career, but I'm so happy he's out of AFC West. And Austin Eckler, the same thing. Like, I know what Harbaugh's trying to, do something different, but I'm so glad those guys are gone.
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
Now, Mike Williams left too. Who's Herbert going to throw the ball to? That's the question.
Yeah. I mean, he's got Palmer, but that's it. So
yeah.
That's it. They'll flash your targets, so they'll probably draft some guys. So that's going to do it for the Pick 6 segment, brought to you by Like It Is Every Week. Performer Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting in 2024, Performer Print 2 Promo Group is over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815.
Birdie Bogey time. There are 5 schools to reach 20 or more regular season wins in each of the last 5 years. Who are those 5 schools?
5 years. So it's
got to be in regular season too. 20 wins in regular season.
2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Okay, so that's no Purdue there. Okay. No Purdue there because the bubble year they're bad. Okay. 20 wins in regular season. Okay. Kansas?
No.
Kansas didn't have 20 wins in regular season.
According to this, no.
They've been
the last 5 years.
That's crazy because they've been a top 4 seed every year since 2000. That blows my mind.
Maybe the COVID year.
Yeah, maybe. Man, that's crazy. Gonzaga?
Yes, Gonzaga is one of them.
I'm so thrown off now. I thought Kansas was a lock. Oh man.
Yeah, Kansas only had, it looks like, 19 wins in the regular season in 2020, 2021.
I'm blanking on big. This is a stretch of munch stretches. Creighton?
Nope.
Dude, just give me a bogey. I can't even think right now. I'm so mad at myself about Kansas.
Gonzaga, Baylor, Houston, San Diego State, and Illinois.
Yeah, none of them really on my radar. So,
thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show. We'll be back at her next Monday. Have a fantastic week of watching basketball.